All right. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. My name is Brian Eby. I'm one of the senior marketing reps here at Tower Hill, and we're going to do kind of a general training as well as an introduction to quoting HO3 today. All right. So what sets Tower Hill apart? We will learn what might set Tower Hill apart from some of your other carriers that you're currently quoting. We will take a quick tour of our customer-facing website. We'll touch on our history and financial stability, some of the products that we offer, and I'll also show you where to find educational videos and our customer login. We'll take a quick tour of rating and policy management, which we call RPM. We'll go over searching for documents or job aids, and we'll also do a live HO3 quote together. And then we'll touch on some takeaways and what's coming soon. All right, so what sets Tower Hill apart? For starters, it's our product availability. So we have HO3, HO4, HO6, DP1 and DP3, mobile home, and a standalone private flood policy that we're very proud of. We also offer dedicated high-value home products with no coastal boundaries. All of our products offer flat dollar hurricane deductibles, and it's not just limited to $250,000 coverage A and less. On the HO3, we do offer the flood endorsement with variable limits. It's also available midterm if you happen to be replacing an existing flood policy. So if the NFIP date doesn't match up with the HO3 date, you're welcome to add the endorsement midterm. We also offer Castle Care, which is our full service contractor network. We'll touch more on that in just a moment. And we also have a dedicated agency claims experience liaison who is fantastic. So in the event that you as the agent feel a claim could use some more attention, she is here to help. All right, so I mentioned our DP1. That's relatively new to the market. We are pretty excited about it. It's an admitted policy form. We found some pretty great success for vacant dwellings with the vacancy endorsement. It's also good for homes that are under renovation or construction. It's available for condos, co-ops, and single-family dwellings. It offers very broad flexibility for lapses in coverage or loss history issues. There's no 4-point inspection required on older homes as long as you aren't requesting something special like water damage or replacement cost. And replacement cost is available on the dwelling for DP1 with underwriting approval. All right, our DP3, we have recently made it much more friendly for owner-occupied risks. So it is available for owner, tenant, or mixed occupancy risks. And the big thing about the DP3 is it now has the ACV roof option. So if you've got that 20, 21-year-old shingle roof that you're having a real difficult time placing, we are happy to put that on our DP3 with the ACV roof. And then for our DP3, DP1, and HO6, we have recently reduced our short-term rental minimum period down to 3 days and 2 nights. So we're very happy to write short-term rentals on all 3 of these products, and Airbnb and VRBO rentals are acceptable. We do not have an issue with those either. All right, I have mentioned our flat dollar hurricane deductibles available for all HO3, HO6, DP3, DP1, and mobile home risks. You will see options available at $500, $1,000, $2,500, and $5,000. And these are available regardless of coverage A, so you could write a flat hurricane deductible all the way up to $5 million coverage A. And then for our flood endorsement with replacement cost on the HO3, no elevation certificate is required. It gives replacement cost on coverage A and coverage C. and now has variable limits, so it does not necessarily have to match the coverage A or coverage C of the underlying policy. There's no waiting period for new purchases, and you can also add the endorsement midterm if you have proof of expiring coverage from something like the NFIP. All right, we have two new high-value home products that we're very excited about. They're called Spire and Prime Plus. As far as Spire and Prime Plus both, they are in Tower Hill Prime, which is our AM Best rated A- or excellent carrier. The coverage A will range from $750,000 all the way up to $5 million. We've implemented distance to coast pricing, so there are no coastal boundaries as far as writing these high-value products with wind coverage. Extended replacement cost is available from 20 to 50%. We will cover the screened enclosure for hurricanes without limitation on the Spire policy. So it goes up to the full coverage A. We're offering liability limits up to $1 million, $50,000 in blanket jewelry, as well as higher individual scheduled item limits. Full water without a water limitation, even on older homes. And there is no wind-driven rain exclusion. So we're very happy to bring all of this with Spire, and then similar options are available a la carte through Prime Plus as well. All right, we are going to jump over to our customer-facing website. So here we are at THIG.com. It's THIG, like Tower Hill Insurance Group. A few things I want to touch on. When a customer walks through your door and is asking, why do I want Tower Hill? If you go to About Us, we're going to find out a lot about that here. So we do offer exceptional customer service. We are known for our financial stability, and we have a wide array of coverage options. We were actually founded in 1972 as Mobile Home Insurance Associates, and through the years we've grown and acquired various companies to be the Tower Hill that you know today. As far as our companies, you will see 3 companies currently open for new business. You'll see Tower Hill Prime, which again carries our AM Best A- or excellent rating. You'll see Tower Hill Preferred, and you'll also see Tower Hill Signature. And all 3 of these carriers are A or exceptional rated through Demotech. You may be familiar with Tower Hill Select or Omega. Both of those carriers merged into Tower Hill Signature effective June 1st of this year. So if you see a policy out there for Tower Hill Select or for Omega, when it renews next, it will renew into Tower Hill Signature. All right. I do want to show you our resources that we have available. I'm going to go to Learning Center. And here you'll see all kinds of pertinent information that you are more than welcome to share on your own social media pages as well. We're going to give updates on storms and things pertinent to the insurance industry in Florida. I do want to point out that all of these are without industry jargon, and they will be presentable for insured without being too confusing. And then if we go to educational videos here, we also have a number of videos that break down some of the more complex aspects of Florida homeowners insurance. And you can share those with the insureds as well. So if you're trying to explain why would you have replacement costs versus actual cash value, what's the ordinance and law, what's the difference between sinkhole and CGCC, etc., these might be a great help. All right, we also have our login here. So there's 2 options here. The customer portal would actually take us to our customer portal. We'll touch more on that later, but this is where insureds can view their bill, change their billing plan, um, file a claim, get updates on a claim, etc. And then we also have agent login, which will take us to RPM. All right, here we are in RPM, our rating and policy management system. Everything that we're going to do today is located in the Personal Lines portal. All right, so within the Personal Lines portal, at the top, you're going to notice diary messages. These are attempts from underwriting to communicate with you about a specific policy, perhaps if a certain coverage would be permitted or if they need a follow-up document, etc. And then you can also see all of your recent leads, quotes, policies, renewals, etc. Over here on the left, we've got a policy search. So if you want to access or service a specific policy, you could find it by name, address, policy form, etc. And then we actually have, if we hit this drop-down box for search all, we can actually search all support docs from here as well. So for example, if I wanted to see updates about eSign, spoiler alert, we're going to do that real soon. I could click on that and see our recent bulletin about eSign. If I wanted to look up, say, FAQ or Matrix, I could also find our FAQs, etc. I could find our matrices for around the state if I was writing in an area I'm less familiar with. All sorts of good stuff like that. All right, let's start our quote together. So I happen to find this lovely home here in my territory that we will use for our quote. In order to start an HO3 quote, you simply come up to the top of RPM, choose Quotes, Florida, and you'll see all our lines of business here. In our case, we're choosing HO3. All right, all we have to do is enter our basic info here. Just steal the zip code here. I do want to point out that age of insured is a premium bearing field. So we some of our products do have age-related discounts, so you'll want to get that date of birth correct. And we also have an accredited builder discount. So this is going to give 5% off the premium for homes that are built by an accredited builder and are 5 years or newer in construction. If you are writing a lot for a builder that you don't see on this list, please let your marketing rep know. We are happy to vet any further builders and consider them to be included in this program as well. All right, so to move forward with our quote, we'll just hit validate. And here we see that our address has come up, so we are good to go. I also want to point out that we have the enter latitude and longitude option. So if you are writing some new construction and it seems that it hasn't even hit the address validation services yet, no problem. You can use Google Maps to find the latitude and longitude or the appraiser for that home, and you are welcome to enter them here. This will give you the correct protection class, territory, BSEG, etc., so you don't have to worry about the rate changing after you bind. All right, in our case, we validated, so I just have to hit select address. All right, so here we are in our lead. I do want to point out some of this information is completed already. So if you aren't familiar, we're using a tool called 360 Value. This serves two purposes for us. First of all, it's going to populate some information about the home. It's our job as the producer to validate that information and make sure it's correct, but it will be populated here. And the other thing it does is it's going to run an RCE for us behind the scenes. So just with the information that the system was able to pull on this house before we even quoted it, it's determined the coverage A currently to be between $89,000, and $238,000. And then it's put the midpoint of that range as the coverage A. So what we will do to start our quote is we're going to address all of this vital information over here on this right-hand column, and then we'll have it rerun the 360 behind the scenes, and we'll be good to go. All right, 2015 home, it picked up our square footage, saying we've got a shingle roof. I would agree with that. Here's a mistake. It's actually a masonry home, so I'm going to update that. It's a hip roof with Class A shutters. I do want to point out, RPM has automatically given us credit for Class A shutters here. When RPM applies the credit for you automatically, you do not need a WinMIT to support that credit. So if we hover over this blue circle, which we call a tooltip, it's actually going to tell us when we don't need a WinMIT to apply Class A shutters. In our case, on the bottom paragraph, we're quoting in Hillsborough County, 2012 and later, in an appropriate zip code where the shutters are required. So it is automatically giving us that credit. All right, this is not a townhouse. We have 3 occupants that live there full time. And let's say it's a new purchase. I do want to point out, if this was not a new purchase, we would just have to put the date that the prior coverage expired. We will actually let you write up to 120 days lapse on HO3 without an underwriting exception, as long as you have a statement of no loss. All right, we've corrected our construction type to masonry and confirmed the rest of our information here. So in order to run the RCE behind the scenes, all you have to do is hit calculate 360 value. All right, we do that, and it actually increased the midpoint to 226,000. So we're good to go with that. Let's say this insured, though, wanted a round number. You could put another number that's within reason here, and it will let you override that just fine. You can actually sometimes even go a little bit out of this range. RPM will give you an error message if you go too far. All right, I'm giving this customer $500,000 liability. I'm excited to write them an umbrella as well, so I'm going to get that liability limit up. Give them $5,000 in MedPay. Personal property replacement cost is selected by default. And instead of a 2% hurricane deductible, I'm going to sell them that $1,000 hurricane deductible, so they know whatever covered loss they sustain, their share is the $1,000. I'm going to give them ordinance and law. For all HO3s, you can give 0, 10, 25, or 50%. Let's give them 10% because this is a pretty new house. They don't have an alarm yet. They don't need screened enclosure. And they are in a secured community. So as far as screened enclosure, on the HO3, we're going to automatically limit or exclude the screened enclosure from wind and hail damage. So this buyback, saying yes here, would give us $10,000 of screened enclosure coverage for wind and hurricane. We can also add additional increments of coverage in $1,000 increments all the way up to $50,000, and then with Emerald Deluxe, we can actually go up to $60,000 of screened enclosure for our standard HO3. All right, we don't happen to have a swimming pool. We don't have a screened enclosure. We don't know if there's secondary water resistance, and insurance score. So I do want to let you know insurance score will be required before you can bind. In our case today, we are going to say no, we're not ready to run insurance score yet because we're using a fictional insured. However, if you are quoting a real insured and you do have their permission to run their insurance score at this point, go ahead and say yes, because then every premium you see will have the correct insurance score incorporated. If you're quoting like me this morning and you don't have permission to run the insurance score, you're just trying to get a ballpark rate, you can still get a rate. Our tiers for insurance score on HO3 run from 1 at the lowest and 10 at the highest. we're going to quote you as a 7 if we don't have permission to run insurance score. So just know that when you do actually run insurance score, if they come up with something other than a 7, the premium will change. All right. To get our rate, we just hit Get Rates. And here we see our custom quote, which means exactly as we've quoted so far, and Emerald. And then we see Preferred, Prime, and Signature are all offering to write this. So in our case, we could offer, say, Tower Hill Prime if the insured was just coming down from the north and really expected that AM Best rating, or we could do Preferred if they wanted a solid carrier like Tower Hill, but they wanted the most competitive option that we offer. So in our case, let's go for Preferred. Now, I do want to point out the rate for Signature and Prime is green, and the rate for Preferred is yellow. You will see green, yellow, and red rates. That's just a visual indicator to let you know how close you are to our reinsurance threshold. You are welcome to bind red all day long. We have no problem with that. Just know if you're looking at a red premium that if you change the credits that are applied to the policy or change the coverages in a significant way, you may lose that rate and have to make some additional changes to get a rate again. And then the last thing, we have Emerald here with a tooltip to explain. The Emerald endorsement is our broadened coverage endorsement. And as you can see here, basically, it adds a number of coverages that are very helpful to have on the HO3. So you can see 3 columns here are standard HO3, Emerald, and Emerald Deluxe. So some of the things you'll notice here that are good selling points, we're automatically going to give you refrigerated personal property. We're automatically going to give you water backup and sump overflow. We're going to increase the individual limits on personal property. And then specific to Emerald Deluxe, we are actually removing the sublimit for animal liability. So in Emerald Deluxe specifically, animal liability is going to go all the way up to the $500,000 limit. All right, in our case, we've got a pretty rate sensitive insured, so we're going to go with Tower Hill Preferred without Emerald for now. All right, here we've got our rate at $825. If we wanted to, we could hit Continue to go to the Endorsements tab. And this is where we can fine tune some of the coverages we're offering. So let's say I wanted to add equipment breakdown or service lines. I could add equipment breakdown. Just hit Rate. And we'll see equipment breakdown was added at $50 for a total premium of $875. Let's say I wanted to quote our flood endorsement. I'm excited about offering that. All right, if I click flood coverage, I see I'm offering $230,000 of building, $100,000 of contents. We also have $50,000 of increased cost of compliance, which is going to be similar to ordinance and law. Should something need to be done to the property to reduce the flood exposure due to code. We're going to have $10,000 of loss of use. We do put the zone on here, but honestly, the zone has very little to do with the rate and is more to make the lien holder comfortable. So if we have shown the incorrect zone and you ever need that updated, just upload some proof to the policy of what the correct zone should be, and any underwriter can help you get an exception through for that. All right, we'll show a $1,000 deductible because, again, I want them to know whatever loss they have, their share is $1,000. And this home is slab on grade. We do not need an elevation certificate for anything to do with flood unless the home is, say, on pilings or has a false basement, etc. All right, we haven't experienced a flood loss. We don't currently have unrepaired flood damage. We're not under a flood watch or warning. We've not been declared ineligible, and we're not on the wrong side of high tide. So once we've answered those questions, the flood endorsement is just as simple as every other endorsement. We're going to hit rate, and boom. I could add the full coverage A at replacement cost of flood coverage for $445 in premium, bringing our grand total to $1,320. All right, this is just how I want it. So I'm going to hit save. And then I'm going to look at quote summary. So I've got a nice proposal to share with the insured. All right, here's our Tower Hill preferred lead for Brian Training. A few things that I want to point out here. First of all, this is going to show those great coverage limits like the $500,000 liability and the $1,000 deductible options. Here's our AOP and hurricane deductible and our flood deductible, all at $1,000. I really want to draw your attention to this statement here in red. So it's going to advise you and the customer. This quote is currently in lead status. Leads are subject to change based on product availability and are not guaranteed. If you would like to proceed, please contact your insurance agent at your earliest convenience for a finalized quote. All right, so what that means is this is a lead, not a quote. And I'm going to tell you why that's important here. So you can see this number starts with an X and it also says lead in all caps. A lead is like a preliminary quote. It means you haven't necessarily run insurance score and committed to a specific Tower Hill company yet. And that means that we haven't saved that capacity for you. So God forbid if something should happen where we have to change roof age or coverage limits or product availability tomorrow, this lead may not be available. So the way to protect that capacity and make sure we don't lose the opportunity to sell this is going to be to hit this button here with the flower, convert to quote. I can't convert this to quote because it's a fictional insured without insurance score run. But if you've run insurance score, you are able to convert to a quote and then save to a specific Tower Hill company. Once you've converted to a quote, we are protecting that capacity for you for 60 days. So even if our year of roof guidelines changed or our capacity in that zip code changed, et cetera, we will be happy to let you bind that for 60 days. All right. Next up, I just want to run through one of our brand new features, which is eSign. So I'm going to pull that up here. You are welcome to search eSign in RPM as well to see more detailed information. But essentially, we have added eSignature. So in order to access this, the underwriting page in RPM must be completed. You choose the eSign button here and choose which documents you'd like the insured to sign. And then when you activate that, you'll choose the insured's name and email address to send the link over. All right, so jumping back into our presentation. So we touched on this, but again, in RPM, a lead will start with an X and will say the word lead in all caps. It's like a preliminary quote that will not save capacity for you. If there's a rate, matrix, or eligibility change, such as roof age, the rate is not protected. A quote will start with an E for Tower Hill Prime, 9 for Tower Hill Preferred, or P for Tower Hill Signature. Insurance score must be run and a company must be selected, as well as a phone number being added for the insured. Once converted to quote status, capacity is protected for 60 days. So if there's a rate, matrix, or eligibility change, such as roof age, the rate and availability will not change within that 60-day period. And then, like we touched on before, this is also explained on the proposal when printed for a lead. All right, a few pertinent underwriting guidelines to touch on. All of our policies cover solar panels for hurricane damage. This was added to Tower Hill Signature HO3 renewals effective January 1st, 2020. So if you have a signature HO3, as long as it was written or renewed after January 1st, 2020, that is covering the solar panels as well. Screened enclosure buyback is paid at replacement cost and always includes both the screens and the frames. There is an ACV option for the DP3 as well. Protection Class 10 risks are permitted. We do not require an alarm or a secure community. However, isolation is a concern and the home must be visible by several neighbors. And then lot sizes of up to 10 acres are permitted without prior approval. Again, isolated risks would be a concern. As long as the home is visible by several neighbors, we should be good to go there. We will allow partial flat roofs over living space in all Tower Hill companies. And specific to Tower Hill Signature, we will actually write 100% flat roof over living space. We do have some new roof requirements statewide. Shingle roofs, including 3-tab and architectural shingles both, are currently limited to 13 years or newer on the HO3. This is always subject to change. Tile and metal roofs are limited to 20 years or newer on the HO3. And actually, we are about to change metal roofs to 25 years and newer. And older roofs are always available on the DP3. It may require the ACV roof endorsement depending upon the age of the roof. And all lines of business now permit up to a 120-day lapse in prior coverage. So HO3, DP3, HO6 will write up to a 120-day lapse in prior coverage. Actually, HO6 will write up to a 1-year lapse. And then DP1 is available for single-family dwellings or condos that have a greater lapse. You actually can write a home with a several-year lapse on the DP1 form. We have made some technological advances to make your life as the agent a little bit easier. For example, we've started FNOL text messaging, or first notice of loss text messaging. So the day before Hurricane Michael, we actually sent a SMS text message to all eligible customers in its path. And then the day after and a few days after the storm, we sent a link to each customer that was in the path with the information on their policy, as well as the ability to file a claim by answering 4 short questions with the option to upload photos from their phone to get their claim started right away. We also used aerial imagery. We compared pre and post-storm aerial views of our insured's homes following Hurricane Michael. We used artificial intelligence to determine when there was 60% change or greater to the roof covering using those fixed-wing flyover photographs. And then we were able to make about 6,000 outbound calls to insureds that had severe damage, many of them before they even saw their own damages or were able to file a claim because they had evacuated from the storm. And then the last thing, we had previously touched on customer portal. We're very excited about that. It allows insureds to sign up for eDocs, retain policy information, make payments, change pay plans, file, and track claims. All right, 2019 was the year of the product. We were able to launch equipment breakdown, service lines. We were able to bring our short-term rental period for DP3 and HO6 down to 3 days and 2 nights. The same period is available on the DP1 as well. The Emerald endorsement became available for HO6. So if you like that Emerald endorsement we viewed on the HO3, that's available for your condo insureds as well. And we launched a new and improved mobile home program, which we're very excited about. We're also proud to offer Castle Care. So if you aren't familiar with that, it is our full service contractor network. It's available exclusively to Tower Hill policyholders. It does include a 24/7 call center for emergency services. which can be reached at 844 Tower 11. If your insured use Castle Care, we give a 5-year guarantee on the workmanship. And then lastly, we can also use this for managed repair. So in the event that Tower Hill chooses to hire a contractor directly for the repairs, this would provide the framework to do so. All right. If you have any specific questions, our core underwriting team is most easily reached via phone at 800-509-1592, extension 8527. You can always reach claims at 800-216-3711 or claims@sig.com. And again, that number for Castle Care or for emergency and repair services would be 844 Tower 11. And then for any broader questions, please reach out to your marketing rep. We are very happy to help. Here's the contact information for all of our marketing reps. Okay, I'm going to conclude the recording. Thanks so much for joining, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.